In a quiet Lancashire town, a seemingly trustworthy babysitter harboured a dark secret. Siann Cawley, a 27-year-old mother from Fleetwood, was entrusted with the care of a young boy. But over the course of 3 weeks in her care, this child's life became a nightmare of abuse hidden behind closed doors. What began as routine childcare turned into a case so horrific that by October 7th, 2025, Cawley would be standing in Preston Crown Court to face justice. For whatever the reason may be, the boy's parents left their son with Cawley, believing he would be safe. Instead, Cawley subjected the little boy to sustained cruelty for 3 weeks. The court later heard that during this period the child suffered numerous injuries and that Cawley would often leave him isolated in a small terraced house for hours while she went out, showing a complete disregard for his welfare. Neighbours occasionally heard shouting from the house but had no idea a child was inside suffering in silence. During those weeks, Cawley's acts of abuse included burning the boy's skin with lit cigarettes, forcing him to eat dog food as meals, and locking him alone in a room for hours while she left the house. By the time this ordeal ended, the child was deeply traumatised. When authorities later examined him, he was covered in visible injuries and found to be malnourished, anxious and withdrawn. Unbeknownst to his parents, their trust in Cawley had placed their son in the hands of a monster. The abuse might have continued longer if not for observant relatives. Family members grew concerned when they noticed drastic changes in the boy's behaviour after his time with Cawley. He appeared terrified and unusually withdrawn, especially at the prospect of returning to the babysitter's home. Sensing that something was very wrong, they alerted social services and the authorities. This prompt action proved critical. Once the alarm was raised, police intervened and the full extent of the boy's suffering came to light. Upon rescue, the young victim's condition shocked even seasoned officers. He was immediately placed in a safe environment, and investigators began documenting the pattern of neglect and physical abuse he suffered. With evidence of the child's injuries and eyewitness accounts, law enforcement swiftly moved to arrest Siann Cawley, bringing the torment to an end. Cawley was taken into custody soon after the abuse came to light. She was formally charged with multiple offences reflecting the abuse she inflicted. These charges included assault occasioning actual bodily harm, as well as child cruelty counts of ill treatment, neglect and abandonment. Each charge painted a picture of prolonged suffering inflicted on a defenceless child. Confronted with the evidence against her, Cawley remained behind bars awaiting trial as the legal process began to turn. But facing overwhelming evidence and the prospect of a trial, she chose to plead guilty to all charges at a Preston Crown Court hearing on September 2nd, 2025. By finally admitting her guilt, she spared the young victim from reliving the trauma in a trial. During the court proceedings, disturbing details of her behaviour were confirmed. The presiding judge, appalled by what he heard, described Cawley's conduct as calculated and sustained, noting her disturbing lack of empathy towards a defenceless child. It also emerged in court that Cawley is herself a mother, yet the victim was not one of her own children. A fact that underscored the betrayal of trust at the heart of this case. On October 7th, 2025, justice was served. Cawley appeared again at Preston Crown Court for sentencing and was ordered to serve 4 years and 3 months in prison for her crimes. She was led away to begin her sentence at HMP Style, a woman's prison in Cheshire. The judge also imposed a lifetime ban preventing Cawley from ever working with or caring for children again. Under UK law, she must serve at least half of her sentence behind bars before being considered for release on licence, during which she will be closely monitored. In the aftermath, the young boy has been safely placed with family and is receiving professional care and therapy. Social workers report that he is gradually recovering from his ordeal with the full support of his loved ones. This case sent shockwaves through the Fleetwood community. Neighbours expressed horror that such cruelty had occurred in their midst. One neighbour remarked, "You think you know who's safe to leave your child with? It's terrifying to think something like this was happening just a few doors away." Authorities have urged the public to remain vigilant, stressing that even subtle signs of child abuse should never be ignored. In the end, a little boy was saved from an unimaginable situation, and his abuser is now behind bars. The Siann Cawley case stands as a stark reminder that evil can hide in everyday guises, and that vigilance and swift action can bring even the most harrowing secrets to light.